Michael Oher, you might remember him as a former Baltimore Raven. He's a retired NFL player, offensive lineman who was the subject-ish. It was really about the white people in his life. The movie The Blind Side, which was the absolute zenith of white saviorism when it did come out and won Sandra Bullock an Oscar. Well, just bombshell report about the real life person today, Michael Oher, in ESPN today. Let's pull this up here. Blindside subject Oher alleges Tuohys made millions off lie. And the Tuohys are the family that, in the film, they adopted him. They took him into his home. He was poor. He was black. He had nothing except these sweet southern white people who took him in. Let's scroll down a bit here. I'll just read straight from the article just because the details are insane. Retired NFL star Michael Oher, whose supposed adoption of can we zoom in just really quickly? Yeah. Just easier for me to look on the screen. Perfect. Retired NFL star Michael Oher, whose supposed adoption out of Jesus. Grinding poverty. That's a weird adjective to use. By a wealthy white family was immortalized in the 2009 movie The Blind Side. Petitioned a Tennessee court Monday with allegations that a central element of the story was a lie concocted by the family to enrich itself at his expense. The 14-page petition, filed in Shelby County Tuesday probate court, alleges that Sean and Leanne Tuohy, who is played by Sandra Bullock, and Sean is played by Tim McGraw, yeah, who took Oher into their home as a high school student, never adopted him. Instead, less than 3 months after Oher turned 18 in 2004, the petition says, so he's still like a senior in high school at this point, living with them. They didn't adopt him. The couple tricked him into signing a document making them his conservators, which gave them legal authority to make business deals in his name. Yes, conservators, like the Britney Spears situation, meaning they basically have control over all of the finances coming his way as a family that never formally adopted him and just recently took him into their home. And he has all of this football prowess. I mean, this is like deeply, deeply messed up stuff. And then they create a film about his life. And here continues the insane details. The petition further alleges that the Tuohys used their power as conservators to strike a deal that paid them and their 2 birth children millions of dollars in royalties from an Oscar-winning film that earned more than $300 million, while Oher got nothing for a story that would have not existed without him. I'm just going to repeat that. The movie earned over $300 million. The white lady, the white dad, the 2 kids who are like his sidekicks, and the sweet... I've seen this movie. I didn't like it at the time either, and I don't like it now, certainly. The daughter learns to appreciate him even though, you know, he's not cool at school, and then the little boy is his friend. The real life avatars of those people, they got money, and Michael Oher got nothing. In the years since, the Tuohys have continued calling the 37-year-old Oher their adopted son and have used that assertion to promote their foundation as well as Leanne Tuohy's work as an author and motivational speaker. The lie of Michael's adoption is one upon which co-conservators Leanne Tuohy and Sean Tuohy have enriched themselves at the expense of their ward, the undersigned Michael Oher, the legal filing says. Michael Oher discovered this lie to his chagrin and embarrassment in February of 2023 when he learned that the conservatorship to which he consented on the basis that doing so would make him a member of the Tuohy family in fact provided him with no familial relationship with the Tuohys. I mean, that is like so messed up it makes me want to cry. They basically, he didn't have a ton of, you know, great family situations as at least portrayed by the movie. Who knows what to trust at this point. But at the very least, the legal document says he wanted to be a part of their family, and he discovered he wasn't even adopted by them. He was just there to be milked for cash. The Tuohy family did not immediately return phone calls on Monday to numbers listed for them. There's that fucking poster based on the extraordinary truth. And it's just Sandra Bullock. not the the football player who this movie's supposed to be about. Orr's petition asks the court to end the Tuohy's conservatorship and to issue an injunction barring them from using his name and likeness. It also seeks a full accounting of the money the Tuohy's earned using Orr's name and to have the couple pay him his fair share of profits as well as unspecified compensatory and punitive damages. Since at least August of 2004, conservators have allowed Michael, specifically the public generally, to believe that conservators adopted Michael and have used that untruth to gain financial advantages for themselves and the foundations which they own or which they exercise control, the petition says. All monies made in said manner should in all conscience and equity be disgorged and paid over to the said ward Michael Oher. Oher was a rising high school senior when he signed the conservatorship papers, and he has written that the Tuohys told him that there was essentially no difference between adoption and conservatorship. They explained to me that it means pretty much what the exact same thing as they explained to me that it means pretty much the exact same thing as adoptive parents, but that the laws were just written in a way that took my age into account. Or wrote in his 2011 best-selling memoir, I Beat the Odds. So he believed, like, there's documentation of him believing this deception. But there are some important legal distinctions. If Oher had been adopted by the Tuohys, he would have been a legal member of their family, and he would have retained power to handle his own financial affairs. Under the conservatorship, Oher surrendered that authority to the Tuohys, even though he was a legal adult with no known physical or psychological disabilities. This is also key because the film, at least, portrays him as not being smart enough or not being able to read in a certain way. And I'm sure that they played that the F up so they could get the conservatorship. The petition alleges that the Tuohys began negotiating a movie deal about their relationship with Oher shortly after the 2006 release of the book The Blind Side: Evolution of a Game, which chronicled the story. According to the legal filing, the movie paid the Tuohys and their two birth children each $225,000 plus 2.5% of the film's defined net proceeds. The film became a critically acclaimed blockbuster, reportedly grossing more than $300 million at the box office and tens of millions of dollars more in home video sales. The film received an Oscar nomination for Best Picture, and Sandra Bullock won a Best Actress trophy for her portrayal of Leanne Tuohy. While the deal allowed the Tuohys to profit from the film, the petition alleges a separate 2007 contract reportedly signed by Oher appears to give away to 20th Century Fox Studios the life rights to his story without any payment whatsoever. The filing says Oher has no recollection of signing that contract, and even if he did, no one explained its implications to him. I mean, they were his conservators. He assumed they had his best interest in mind. Again, he was a first-round draft pick. I'm trying to... I think he won the Super Bowl with the Ravens, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, he won. And he played the tackle position. Look, I mean, he got paid well, I think. You know, I mean, he played tackle. He got a contract that was decent. I think, I guess he didn't end up, I guess, re-signing with the Ravens. He went on to the Titans, but doesn't mean that he shouldn't be getting profit from this. It's unreal. The deal lists all four Tuohy family members as having the same representative, a creative artist agency, the petition says, but Oher's agent, who would receive movie contract and payment notices, is listed as Deborah Brannon, a close family friend of the Tuohys. And the same lawyer who filed the 2004 conservatorship petition, the petition alleges. Brannon did not return a call to her law office on Monday. So they have talent agents, and he has their family friend as his agent in this instance. In the past, the Tuohys have denied making money from the movie, saying they received a flat fee for the story and did not reap any of the movie's profits, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so, man, that is some white savior insanity. And the movie was a white savior movie. The story is a white savior movie, which is exploitation designed as benevolence, often in the form of, like, religiosity, and Southern hospitality in this instance. And the way that that film portrayed the black people in it, even Michael, very thinly portrayed, except for his football ability and in the way that they portray it, his difficulty with school. Everybody else, black people either portrayed as like not good parents to him or bad influences. And the white people, they're the saviors. All the while, they are robbing this kid. Unreal.
Yeah, I mean, this is like I'm no lawyer, but this almost seems like borderline like a fraud uh case that Michael Oher could make in a criminal capacity, not just in a probate capacity, because
Well,
he
he's
was
probably has so many mixed emotions about this.
absolutely, but I mean, like he was an adult technically when they had him when they kind of almost coerced him into signing a conservatorship agreement, lying about the terms of the agreement, saying that thing, and as you said, there being literal evidence from his book that was published 12 years ago
Yeah.
that he was told that they were basically the same thing, where legally they are very much not the same thing, adopting somebody and being a conservator for somebody. Um, yeah, this is a situation that really grinds all of my gears at once. The fake religious piety behind
Mm-hmm.
these people, the extreme foregrounding of of white people and their benevolence in a black person's story, and ultimately none of that stuff actually making any difference because they were lying about it the entire time to make money off of the back of the person that they were supposedly taking care of. It's disgusting, and obviously this has to be proven in court, no question. I'm not even trying to say necessarily that this has been, there's we have to put a big
Caveat, caveat,
yeah, we
caveat.
put
Even
a
though his book in 2011
yeah,
said
we
that there
put
was
a
no difference between
for
adoption and
for
conservatorship.
for
Yeah.
liability purposes, we stamp a huge allegedly on everything, but
Mm-hmm.
at the same time, there's nothing more insidious than using this as a way to earn goodwill and earn motivational speaking gigs and book sales, and then taking that money from the avatar of all of your benevolence and giving it to your white kids who didn't struggle in the first place. Um,
And the whole thing is that they're rich. The whole
right.
premise is that they're rich and have the ability to just give away all this money.
And in the end, what was more important was conspicuously making more money and leaving the person that made them that money in the first place, without it so much as a dollar. But at least he can get impartial representation from their good friend who probably just ripped up all of his checks and potential sponsorship agreements or whatever the case may be in order of lining the pockets of the person that they actually had a relationship with.
We will follow this story. We will continue to follow this story, but man, is it freaking insane.
Yeah.
But makes
Really,
total sense
but
at the
good.
same time.
Michael Orr's 37 years old. Good for him for if this bears out. Good for him for actually taking action on this, because if this is true, these people deserve to be these people don't deserve a moment's peace until this is
Until they
arbitrated
pay him
fully.
boatloads of
Yeah,
money.
until he is literally offered financial restitution for what they did to him.
Yeah, I want it all. I want it all for him. Good for Michael Oher for finally realizing it.
Absolutely.
Gotta take some action here. But it must have been really hard. It must have been
No,
so
it
hard.
must be extremely cognitively dissonant, I imagine, to
It's just
be this age and think that you have been lied to or at least misrepresented or and not only that, not receive the earnings that you could have received
well, it's
because of these
complete
people.
emotional manipulation.
Yeah.
Because they pretend that they're changing his life when really they're leeches.
Exactly.